Alright, shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors be unto the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations into the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel broad, lift up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is titled, Two More Prophecies Left, Then the Kingdom. Okay? Two more prophecies left, then the kingdom of heaven will be established on the earth. Ruled by Yahweh Shai and the fellow Israelites, okay, which Yahweh Shai was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, okay. Hebrews 7:14 proves that. But anyway, the last two prophecies, we already got the two major prophecies, should I say, because within the two major prophecies, you're going to have a lot of little prophecies that's going to be fulfilled, which is going to consist of the major two prophecies, which the final two prophecies, which can't happen without the others. The first thing, mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, and the nuclear destruction followed by deliverance. So if you want to equate the nuclear destruction and deliverance all in one prophecy, you can do that, because deliverance and the destruction is interchangeable. They're within the same prophecy, so to speak, because the destruction and deliverance is going to happen at once. All right, but before the destruction and definitely before the deliverance, before that can manifest or take place, that would have to be the passing of the RFID chip. And this is why you see the world systems and the world's kingdoms and the world's financial infrastructure that's being converted over to digital currency. You know, dealing with biometrics, dealing with computer-led programs. You know, like you got Microsoft, which micro means small, soft means software. Small software. If you look at the RFID chip, it is specified that it is the size of a grain of rice that can be embedded into your right or left hand or your foreheads, okay? And we believe that's a major prophecy which is going to shift focal key points on the planet Earth to set up the final prophecy, which is the chip. Which is the destruction, Salakia, deliverance, and destruction, which is interchangeable. Prior to that, you got the RFID chip, but you see the economic collapse, the race riots, and really the economic collapse and the instituting of the vaccinations, etc. That's all going to lead into the mark of the beast prophecy, all right? Because the geopolitical systems and the financial sectors, they all go hand in hand with the digital currency, which the digital currency is nothing more but, once again, the chip, okay? We're like broken records when we're bringing out the mark of the beast, but nonetheless, we have to continue to push these things because, hey, Jake, they're a nation that's attention deprived, so to speak. So we have to continue to push forth these prophecies to let our people know, you know, don't take the chip, you know, because if you take the chip, then you're not going to see the kingdom of heaven on this side. Instead, you got to be born as a little baby and come back and relearn all over again, all right? Which the scriptures go into, the same was learned by pain, through death by pain, you know. So if you take the chip, you have none good. You have nothing good coming to you, but torture, agony, you know, and being in a state of derision, you know, because you got men out there that's teaching against these prophecies, but they're going to be the main ones that's going to be in dire straits when these prophecies begin to happen. But backing up, going into the RFID chip in the financial sector, like right now, you got what they call COVID. COVID is set up basically to bring in a financial collapse. So the financial collapse is justifiable to bring in digital currency, which digital currency brings in a chip. Okay, so these are the stages that the elites are setting in order to get this prophecy on and going. And it really is the Most High, because the scriptures say that the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men, you know. So with that being said, those are the two major prophecies. The chip, which, you know, the detention centers, race riots, all those things are prophecies, but they're smaller prophecies. They're like, if you look at a chessboard, you got the pawns on the thing, then you got the king and queen, you got the duke, you know. And the other part, you got the duke, you got the king and queen, you got the pawns, and then you got, what's the other one? I forgot the other one. I haven't played chess in a while. But basically, the pawns are pretty much the forefront of these things. And the pawns are pretty much the sacrifices. So once these prophecies are executed, like major FEMA camps and race riots, they all go hand in hand, because we know in those FEMA camps, they're going to have what they call chipping stations, you know. So it's a lot of miscellaneous prophecies that's going to be embedded into two big prophecies, okay. So this is the book of Daniel 7 and 8. It says, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, which is America, okay? It says, before whom there was 3 of the first horns plucked out by the roots, which is going into the French, the Spanish, and the Brits, okay? It says here, and behold, in this horn, the eyes were like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things, right? Because if you look at the blasphemous words that this nation have spoke against the nation of Israel, calling them blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they're not the people of God, those are blasphemous things. Those are great things. Oh, you Jakes are the face of COVID. Those are great things. That's defying the Most High. Those are blasphemous, you know? And it says here, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. The Ancient of Days is the Most High, all right? Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair on his head like the pure wool, which proves he was a black man. It says his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. And a fiery stream issue came forth from before him, and thousands of ministers unto him, and tens and times 10,000 stood before him, and the judgment was set, and the books were opened, okay? And we're getting ready to come into these times, all right, that the Most High is getting ready to open up a case of judgment on America, on Babylon the Great, you know? And I'm jumping around a little bit. Verses 12, and it says, and concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives prolonged for a season in time, right? Because you got to look at going into the Greeks and the Romans, all right? Their dominion was taken away, but nonetheless, they're ruling under what you call the NATO and the EU now, all right? Which NATO, which stands for National Atlantic Treaty Organization, which was set up to battle USSR, which you would consider in modern age the Eastern Bloc, okay? Because you got these geopolitical moves that's being made due to financial turmoil around the world due to this US dollar being set up, all right, back in, I believe, the 40s, because the British pound was the general currency of the world. But we believe that's why America got into World War II, was to bring about the US dollar as a reserve currency, okay, which now is considered the petrodollar. So these geopolitical moves that's being made by the Eastern and West, by the West and by the East, they're ultimately going to end up in bloodshed and war, which is going to lead into the deliverance of the Israelites, the elect of the nation of Israel. All right. And it says here, and it says, and I saw in the night visions, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, which is the angels, the chariots, and came into the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And it says, and there was given him a dominion and a glory and a kingdom. So this is when Yahweh Shai went to the spirit realm, and he received his kingdom. He received his blessing. But it haven't played out yet on the planet Earth. Because, hey, right now, the scriptures say that the Most High set it up another one and bringing one down. Call with all Yahweh Shai 144. So you have to understand that even though Yahweh Shai has his glory, he have his omnipotent power, but it's not really being displayed on the earth yet because he's not in his rulership. So right now Yahweh Shai is waiting to take this man down. So therefore the new king, which is Yahweh Shai, can come and reign on the earth in peace. And that's the prophecies we're going into. All right. And it says here, and the nations and languages should serve him, in which dominion is an everlasting dominion which should not pass away, and his kingdom that which should not be destroyed. And that's going to be when the deliverance comes. That's going to be when America is finally destroyed, because Yahweh Shai can't come and set up a joint kingdom with Esau. It doesn't work that way, because ultimately it's going to lead in conflict. So what the Lord is coming to do, he's bringing about the prophecies. So therefore, when he comes, he can take this man down. And when this man is taken down, he can rightfully establish the kingdom of heaven. All right, but first, the major two prophecies, which is the mark of the beast, and also, that's the RFID chip in the Third World War, which is going to follow by the deliverance of the hopeful elect. These particular things have to come to pass before this scripture can fully be manifested, okay? So as long as the mark of the beast prophecy has not come to pass, this prophecy is not going to come to pass, all right? And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It will happen. It's going to happen sooner than later, because we understand the scriptures. We understand that all things are in the Lord's time. But overall, before that can happen, the chip must be made mandatory first. That has to happen. Majority of the planet Earth has to get chipped before that prophecy can be fully manifested on the planet Earth. All right? And that's what we're waiting on. And this is why we're telling them, look, go ahead and just chip everybody, man. What the hell are you waiting on? You know, but of course Esau is trying to hold on into his kingdom. But overall, you know, hey, the Lord's getting ready to pluck him out. All right? And it says here, And I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit. It says, and in the midst of my body, it says, in the midst of my body, and the visions troubled me. And it says, and I came near to them that stood by and asked them the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the thing. So the angel revealed it to him and told him, like, look, this is what this is. This is what this is. This is what that means. Even though when prophets got the vision of these ancient kingdoms, they didn't understand really the breakdown of them because it was due to a latter time. That's why when Daniel asked in the 12th chapter, he said, well, what will be the end of these things? What will be, what are you speaking about? He says, Daniel, go thy way. It's not meant for you to know, seal up the word until the end of days. So it wasn't meant for him to know at that particular time, and it was meant for us to come back on the earth today to break down these prophecies. So now we do understand what the prophets wrote. And this is why we're able to go into chapters like 2nd Esdras 11 and 12, Daniel's 9, Daniel's 8, Daniel 7, Daniel 11, Daniel the 10th chapter. That's why we're able to go into the more detailed books of the Bible and get basically a general understanding of what these men were talking about, because the revelation or the understanding wasn't necessarily given to them at that time, because a lot of these ancient kingdoms, or a lot of these kingdoms that was prophesied in the ancient world was really set up for this time. Like Daniel, he wasn't around during the time of the fourth beast. Why? Because during the time of the Romans, Daniel, he wasn't on the scene. He wasn't on the earth at that time. Now, he may have been on the earth as a different disciple of one of the 12, whether he was Apostle John or John the Revelator, or whatever disciple he was on the earth at that time, but he wasn't on the time during the fourth beast, because I believe Daniel was on I think it was during the Babylonians, and then I believe the Persians and the Medes, if I'm not mistaken. But the Romans hadn't come into power yet, but he prophesied of an event hundreds of years that was off, that was before before it even came to pass. So that shows you how the Lord deals with men, man. And that's beautiful, how the Lord can reveal a prophecy to a man 2,000-3,000 years ago before it actually come to pass. Like a lot of the prophets saw visions of America, like John the Revelator or Apostle John. He saw visions of America, and that's why he marveled at the woman. And that was written 1,900 to 2,000 years ago. The Lord gave this man a vision of 2,000 years in the future of this very day we're living in, seeing the shit we're seeing. The things that we're going through in life, the system that's set up, the Most High gave him the vision of what it was, though he didn't necessarily understand it, but he seen it, He seen vehicles and cars, he seen skyscrapers, he seen undesirables and, sex change. He seen all those things, That's why the scripture say he marveled at that woman, because she was beautiful. He saw the riches, etc. But ultimately, that prophecy was meant to be expounded on at a later time, All right. And it says, and these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall rise out of the earth. All right. You had for one thing, you had the not the Greco-Roman. That was one of them, but you had the Persians and the Medes, which is the Medo-Persian Empire. You had the Babylonians. All right. You had the Greco-Roman Empire, or the Greeks, and then you had the Romans, which the Romans are the fourth beast. We're in the time of the fourth king, or the fourth empire, the fourth beast now. We're in that time. And it says here, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. All right. And that prophecy is going to happen after the chip is passed. All right. So Daniel basically foreseen past the RFID chip. He didn't necessarily go into the chip. All right. Because it wasn't his duty to prophesy about that. The RFID chip wasn't hinted at into the New Testament for somebody to get simple and say, oh, he said Daniel seen the chip. No, I didn't say that. I said when he's prophesied a time beyond the chip is being passed, because he stated that the saints will take the kingdom. How are we going to take the kingdom? Once the prophecies have come to pass. Once the RFID chip has been instituted, once the nuclear missiles have destroyed the West or America, and once Yahushua comes and delivers us through the chariots. That's when we're going to take the kingdom. And it's going to be through bloodshed, through violence. It's not going to be a peaceful transition. All right. But it says here, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. And that's the spirit. That's why they told you the fourth beast is synonymous with the end of Esau's kingdom. Scriptures say Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Because to prove that this fourth beast was America, or the Roman Empire, and that America is of the fourth beast, is because, for the simple fact, this is the end game. This proves that this is the last kingdom standing, because why didn't he say the third beast? Why didn't he say the second beast? But after the fourth empire, or the fourth beast, was to be set up and destroyed, that's when the kingdom of heaven will be set up on the earth. All right. And it says here, then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the other, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth of iron and hard as nails of brass. Right. Going into like irony, like weaponry, because you're making weapons out of what? Steel, iron, which is a very powerful element. Okay. And that teeth goes into their military. And it says it was diverse. Why? Because you got Senate, you got Congress, you got all these succession of states. You got these joint allies. You got these different geopolitical schemes that's going on in this particular nation, or this particular setup. All right. That's why I said it was diverse. Like NATO and the EU, the European Union is compact of different nations. The NATO, the UN, United Nations. It says, matter of fact, and it says here, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue with his feet. Right, because there's never been an empire as strong as the fourth beast. Because the Greeks, which was of the third beast, they were interchangeable with the fourth beast, which the fourth beast started with the Romans. All right, which the Greeks technically are the Roman, they're the same people, but they converge. That's why you got what they call the Greco-Roman Empire. But it says here, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of their other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, which we went into that earlier, the Spanish, French, and the British. It says here, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Like if you look at this dude Trump, and you look at these Edomites in the West, these are some proud mofos, man. They're proud as all hell. All right, and they don't believe they're ever going down. But I beheld, and the same horn, which is talking about that little horn, which is America, made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Why? Because they took us in slavery. They brought us down. Okay? They conquered us. Right now, we're still in their possession. But it says here, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And this is after the prophecies come to pass. Thus he said the fourth beast should be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which we're currently living in now, which should be diverse from all kingdoms, and should devour the whole earth, and should tread it down and break it in pieces. And if you look at what America is doing out there, and look out there and what they did in what's the name of that place, man, that they caused the this dude man, it's one of them Latin nations. It's on the tip of my tongue, man. But you brothers know what I'm speaking about. Basically, it's hyperinflation out there. They was eating peacocks and all type. They was like literally lining up to eat food out of trash compactors. I can't recall the name of it, man. But you brothers know what I'm speaking about. It's one of them Latin American countries. With the guy Maduro, etc. When basically they wanted to overthrow him and they wanted to set up the central bank. Look at places like that. Look at what they did over there in Iraq. Look at what they're doing to the Arabs. Look at what they're doing to the East Indians. Look at what they did down there in what they call the Panama Canal, which goes into the Panama Deception. Literally putting out laser weaponry on the people. That's why I said should tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings, which goes into NATO and the EU, that should arise, and another should rise after them, and he should be diverse from the first, and should subdue 3 kings. And he should speak great words against the Most High, and should wear out saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they should be given into his hand until a times, and the dividing of times. But the judgment shall sit, and they should take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve him. All right? So that's the time we're coming into. But in order for that to happen, the mark of the beast must come to pass, and the nuclear destruction followed by the deliverance of the Israelites, starting with the elect, must come to pass before this comes to pass. And with that, all praises and glory and honor is due to Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and the Baba Ball.